Welcome to Warlord Wednesday. I can't say that any better. I think I should, I've got to come up with like a, that welcome to the jungle sort of like scenario. I need to come up with something like welcome to Warlord Wednesday. It's fighting time. No, I don't know. But welcome to Warlord Wednesday. And today we're going to be looking at these two things right here. It's the US Marine Corps Raiders 1942 to 1943 book, and we're going to be looking at the new Sherman tank, my Marine Force. So I'm building a new Marine Force. It's going to be inspired by Conflict 47 and Bolt Action. I need to build a Marine Force that I can switch over to both games, and this is the best way of doing it, I figured, to start afresh. Because I don't know what's going to be in the Conflict 47 book. And when I interviewed the guy, he sort of said, well, they haven't really sort of focused on the Pacific War. It's more the Western European War. But there's nothing stopping me playing Marines. Is there? Come on, let's face it. There's nothing stopping me playing for, Marines whatsoever. It's still a force organisational sort of thingy bob in there that allows me to pick, a captain, a lieutenant, or a corporal, or sergeant and stuff, or a major, captain, and a lieutenant, I think it is, and a second lieutenant if you're English. But because I'm focusing on Marine Corps, I'm going to be basically looking for information to build a beautiful fighting force I can have a lot of fun with, which I can then use again with Conflict 47. And I want it to be quite narrative and exciting as well. So I'm going to be playing around with the old tank riders because I love that. It looks amazing and it's really great. I've not had so much fun in ages, basically, than I have done in the last 4 days of painting this and building it. And it's not even finished yet either. It needs more Marines and new stowage and stuff like that. So guys, let's get on with it, and I'm going to see you in a few seconds. Howdy guys, how you doing? Okay, so I love getting reference material, and I tend to use the internet or the interweb quite a lot when it comes to images for researching and stuff like that. I may get my facts wrong from time to time, but I do know how to research images. Okay, now it's a really useful tool to research online, especially when it comes to making your models look individual and different from everybody else's. And I always find that really, really cool when you see something, even though it's just a Sherman tank, but there's just that little thing about it that makes it a little bit different to everybody else's. So I tend to buy a lot of books as well, and I tend to gather as much material as possible, and I love anything that's got photographs in it. Not because I don't like reading, it's because I like the visual enjoyment as well. I like to see things, and I like to understand how movement works and stuff, and photographs are really great for that. And of course I wasn't around during World War II, so the best thing I can use is images and look at the way posing is in books and online. So let's check this book out. Now this is the US Marine Corps or US Marine Corps Raiders book, and it's from 1942 to 43. It's published by Osprey. You can get this on the Warlord website as well, because this is where I bought it from. And I've got to say, it's a fantastic, I don't know if it's still up there though, but do go and have a check of it. It's a fantastic book with a load of interesting information and great images and photographs in there. So if you're looking to learn as much as you can about the Marines and then look at the Raiders, this is a fantastic book for you. Now there's tons of information out there that you can gather on it anyway, but I kind of like to have a library of books that I can always go back to and have a look and try and create some awesome posing. Awesome information in here, lots of information, how it was all started, their recruitment and their training, even down to images on, I mean, that's really cool. I really love to recreate some of that as well. Let's just take a closer look. See, I love landing craft as well, and I really want to introduce some landing craft and dinghies and some bigger landing craft. So I'm hoping some of the big boy companies do some larger boats so you can put tanks in them. Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be really cool. Someone do that, will you? Not that they watch these videos anyway, but there's tons of information in there, from black and white photographs all the way through their engagements, and all the way to map details and stuff. And my favourite part of the book is seeing the colour referencing, because a lot of people have trouble finding the right colour references. I once had a friend who I gave a tiger to and said, go on, have a go at painting that up. And when it came back, I shouldn't laugh, but when it came back, he had painted the barrel bolt gun metal. And we had to have a conversation about that, because that's the kind of thing I would have done in the beginning days. And I think it's hard for people that transition over from painting fantasy and sci-fi miniatures into World War II miniatures. Even though this is the best war movie I've ever played, there is that historical factor. So you need to get, colour schemes right if you can, and it really does help. Because the last thing you want to do is offend a lot of people. So there's tons of information in here, some beautiful artwork as well, and I really love the book, any of the books that come from Osprey, because you tend to get quite a lot of beautiful artwork in there. And also, again, indigenous races, the indigenous people, I should say. You never really sort of think about that. And during the Pacific War, there was a lot of upheaval to the indigenous people in that whole area. So wouldn't it be cool to introduce, like, your medic and stuff with like natives and stuff like that? It'd be really, really cool. So there's always that to add to it, even down to the camo that they were wearing. I've tried to recreate that as best as I possibly can on mine, and again, more color reference and stuff like that. So it's a really useful book to get a hold of, if anything, to learn about what happened there, or just to use the photographs of reference to build on your own sort of like conversions and stuff. So the next one for me is going to be some more information on the Sherman tank. I need to get a book about Sherman tanks, and especially sort of marine stuff as well. So guys, I'm going to move on to the next section where we take a look at the tank. See you in a second. Howdy guys, and welcome back. Okay, so here we have my tank. Now I've taken off the grey, guys, because obviously they're not painted yet or glued on, so if I want to move this around and show you, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Some people asked me if I could do a video on how I do my tank riders, how I make them, so we'll do that next week for you. This week I want to focus on the book and on this tank here. Now, because I'm going to be really heavily entrenched in Conflict 47, because I'm so blown away by it from what I've seen so far, and I really do like my Marines for bolt action. I want to build an army that I can use for both books and just have little add-ons here and there. So in the meantime, what I'm doing is I'm going to build up my Shermans, because I still don't know what's going to be in the Conflict 47 book, but I do know what's going to be what's in the book for the Marines for bolt action. So I can start working on some tank armor for my troops, and I can just play around with some other vehicles and stuff like that. So here we have my Sherman tank, and I've got to say, this has been the most fun to paint that I've had in a long time. Now, if you've been following me on Facebook, you would have seen me putting this together, and I've got to say, it's been absolutely amazing. So much fun has gone into building this. It's been unbelievable. So much so, I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning just to get on with it. And in the UK, 3 o'clock in the morning, believe me, it's tough. So I've just been getting on with it and watching movies to really get me excited about doing my Marines. So I'm going to be looking into new bits and pieces. I'm going to do a lot of conversion pieces as well, and lots of narrative pieces. Now, as you can see here, we've got my tank riders on there, and I've got to say, this was absolutely amazing. Now, I tend to paint these models differently to everybody else. I think I don't just put the whole thing together, I paint it in sections. So the hull was separate to the main wheel assembly, and the turret was off as well. Now we can have a look at that now to see how I lay everything out. And I always spray stuff white beforehand, and then go at a darker colour. But we'll be looking at that in one of the other series as well. And I keep saying I'm going to be doing painting videos for you guys. I try to fit them in as much as possible, and it's going to be a lot easier now that I've got other people painting on the channel as well for me. So it gives me a bit more time to focus on actually producing lovely content for you. So we're going to be doing a whole series on these, and I do love painting, and we do like converting, and we do that quite a bit on this channel. Now, if you've got a Marine Force, leave me some tips and tricks down below, because things that I'm looking at are maybe a greyhound, I don't know. Is it relevant? Were they being used in that part of the war? I was looking at maybe a Wolverine of some sort, you know, maybe an anti-tank vehicle. But I know the Japanese didn't have that many big tanks. A lot of their tanks were small, lightly armoured, and really not up to the job of fighting the US armour. So I want to see what's out there. And plus, you know what, I can use this in Western Europe as well. You know, I mean, we're playing games, it's war games, so you know I can tend to use it. Now if you've got any tips and tricks, please add them in the comments, especially when it comes down to force organisation, what you think will be good, what should I take and what should I use as well. So guys, thanks for watching as usual. You be good, you be safe, and I'm going to see you very soon. Take care.